All right, awesome. Well, welcome everybody to How to Pay Yourself as a Business Owner. I'm Maggie Montague. I am the founder of Secure Financials, and we are hosting this Lunch and Learn Masterclass. Angela is going to be our presenter today. Super excited to have her come speak on this topic. She has been super passionate about this since she's been here with us. So I love that she is able to go ahead and share it with our um, following. So if we could keep our cameras on if you are in the room, that helps us with engagement, of course. And then feel free to come off mute if you have any questions. We do have Q&A scheduled for the end. But if you have questions throughout, we will pause and allow for that. So we're excited to get started. Welcome, Angela.
Hi, everyone, and thanks so much for coming to our first masterclass on how to pay yourself as a bookkeeper. My name is Angela William, and I am the lead bookkeeper here with Secured Financials. So if you don't know by now, we help service-based business owners streamline their financing, understand where their money is going, and to fully understand their business and pay themselves consistently. Have you ever felt like making good money, that you were making good money, but you didn't see it in your bank accounts? If paying yourself feels random, stressful, or in the right place, you are in the right place. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go over our three-part framework. We're going to break down for you the 3 steps that we have designed to help you with paying yourself, avoid all of that financial chaos, and set yourself up for some long-term success. So we'll just start with a little bit about me. Again, my name is Angela. I'm the lead bookkeeper here with Secured Financials. I'll give you a little bit about my background. I started my career at Arizona State University, where I got to work with the undergraduate student government. It was an incredible opportunity for me in many ways. I got the opportunity to help them manage their budget of almost $2 million. I got to support them doing all kinds of really cool initiatives, anything from sustainability initiatives on campus to planning major events on campus, for traveling, for professional development. So I really got to dive deep into the accounting world, but with the university structure behind me that had very strict policies, procedures, and guidelines and things like that. I moved to Florida in 2019, where my passion really kind of shifted. I started working alongside my sister, who has several businesses out here in Florida, where I really got to just see the passion and drive with like small business owners. And not just that, but like my sister really like dived deep into her community, and I got to really just kind of see like the growth from that. And it was just it was very rewarding, and I really kind of just found my passion with working alongside these motivated, ambitious business owners. So when I decided to jump into bookkeeping, I felt like I was really just kind of combining the two worlds. I had the strong structure and background from the university, where I got to be excited and motivated with these business owners as they're scaling these fantastic businesses. Okay, so did you know that payroll taxes is how the US government makes 86% of their money? So messing up with that will cause you penalties and fees. So I know your big question here is going to be how? How do I pay yourself? Well, that's going to be determined by your entity type, by your business structure. So for single member LLCs and partnerships, you're going to pay yourself through owner's draws, bank transfers, withdrawing cash, and writing yourself a check. You're not subject to any employee or employer payroll taxes this way. Um, if you are an S Corp or a C Corp, you're going to want to pay yourself through a payroll company. We do recommend that you use ADP. We have a representative that we work with there, so we are happy to get yourself or get you plugged in with them. What's most important with an S Corp or a C Corp is going to be the payroll taxes. You will be on payroll, so you'll get a W-2 at the end of the year, and you will be subject to employee and employer payroll taxes. Do you have any questions? No? Okay. Okay. So we broke this up into a 3-part framework for you. First step is going to be knowing your numbers. The way to know your numbers is through bookkeeping. You can track your monthly expenses and revenues either with a spreadsheet. If you can't invest in QuickBooks at the time, a spreadsheet is always a good option. It takes a little bit longer to do it that way, but it can definitely, if you track your income and your expenses, it'll give you your profit at the end of the month. Which again is our next bullet point. We want to make sure that you know your profit, not just your bank balance. They're two very different things. So we want to know what your profit is at the end of the month. You can't pay yourself confidently if your numbers are a mystery. So bookkeeping is essential. If you don't have us do it, then you need to be doing it yourself. But that is your first step at the framework is your knowing your numbers. Okay. The next step is going to be set a pay schedule. This is where I always kind of like to go with consistency, consistency, consistency. Consistency works, right? So set yourself up on a consistent pay schedule. We do recommend either weekly or biweekly paydays. But as long as you stick to a schedule, the size and the amount does not matter. We can work through that, but we want to make sure that you get yourself on a very strict schedule. Start out small but predictable. If you need to start out with even paying yourself $250 a month or $250 a pay period, it's good to get yourself on a schedule so then you can start working it into your workflow. The next is going to be use the profit first. Who's heard of the profit first method? Yay. Well, it is definitely something that we use here at Secured Financials. We recommend that you set up 2 to 3 bank accounts. The reason that we recommend you to do this is that you can set up each bank account will give you a bird's eye view of where that specific account is at any given time. So we recommend that you set up 2 to 3 accounts. One is going to be your operating account. One is going to be your owner's pay account. And then the optional one would be a tax or a profit account. Each account will be designated for those specific areas. So your operating account will hold all of your operating funds, things that will be supporting subscriptions, rent, and any of your monthly expenses. Your owner's pay will be that. It'll be the money that will be spent, transferred directly to you. And then the optional account for the tax and the profit account, we do recommend that you set up a tax account where 30% of your money would go in there for taxes at the end of the year. And then your profit account is another option that we recommend, and that's going to be where you have all of your profit and or your savings. We do recommend that you automate your transfers to move your funds manually with each time that you get a deposit into your account. And stop pulling from the same account, or no, I'm sorry. So you want to just make sure that you're using each account for their respective items. Any questions on that? No? If I'm going a little too fast, please let me know. I'm happy to slow down. Okay. All right, so let's go through the knowing your numbers. I love this tagline. It always makes me laugh, but you cannot pay yourself confidently if your numbers are a mystery. This is again where I recommend that you either use a spreadsheet for tracking your expenses or QuickBooks or a financial management system. Bookkeeping is essential to, the workflow of your business and understanding where all that's going. So you want to make sure that you are tracking your monthly revenue. That's whatever money is coming into your account. Okay. Next, we're going to be, you're going to want to track your monthly expenses. What is going out of your account? So for this, you're going to want to make sure that you capture subscriptions, rent, meals for your clients, anything that's coming out that's business related. You really kind of want to avoid any commingling of funds as well when you're setting up your pay. We want to make sure that your business account is for your business expenses. And then that's going to give you your profit. You're going to take your revenue minus your expenses, and that's going to total your profit for the month. You want to start by choosing a target pay. We do recommend that you start between a 30 to 50% of your monthly profit is a healthy baseline for you to start. Okay, so how does that look exactly? Um, I have an example here that I'll just kind of read through you and if you read through for you. And if you have any questions, just let me know. But if your business brought in $10,000 last month and your expenses, again, rent, software, and supplies were $4,000, then your profit is $6,000. Based on our recommendation of the 30 to 50%, we recommend that you should have paid yourself this month anywhere between $1,800 and $3,000. Clarity makes things very, very much easier, right? So when we can see the numbers, when we see them at a glance, it makes things easier for us to understand the bigger picture. 82% of small businesses fail due to poor cash flow management or lack of understanding their finances. That's unfortunate, if you ask me. I think that in a business, I mean, I've really enjoyed supporting business owners, but I have found it incredibly shocking to me of the business owners that are very much focused on their business and they don't pay any attention to the numbers. They think that it's, oh, I have money in the bank, so I'm doing okay. And that's not necessarily the true. It doesn't always paint a clear picture. So knowing your numbers really helps you build your business with confidence, I think. Any questions? Okay. Moving right along to setting up a schedule. I know that this can be incredibly overwhelming and seem very scary for a lot of new business owners. I feel that there's a lot of concerns that they're going to have, a lot of reasons for not doing it, a lot of reasons for pushing it off to the next, but it's important that you set yourself a schedule, weekly or bi-weekly. If your business income is real, then your paydays should be real too. All of us are working and starting our own businesses to be financially secure. We should be too. We should be making that happen with our businesses. So stop waiting for the right moment to pay yourself. Start now. Okay. So we do recommend that you set a payday of weekly or biweekly. Stick to it, even if the amount is small at first. Consistency is better than size. Builds personal stability and business discipline. Discipline is also very essential with our businesses. Financial discipline and making sure that we're being physically responsible with our money is just important for the growth and scaling of our business. Your business is your job. Let's start treating it like one. Okay. Any questions here? Awesome. All right. So the profit first. Now, again, who's heard of the profit first method? Good. This was a little bit new to me, so I really dived into it when I joined Maggie's team, and this one was a little bit new to me, so I dived in and I wanted to really kind of learn about it. This essentially is just it is a bank method for you to be putting your money into the designated accounts for what they're represented for. Okay, so random transfers create chaos in our businesses, in our banking, and quite honestly, it makes bookkeeping a nightmare. A simple structure builds peace. There's truth behind that. We like to make sure that everything is flowing in a consistent and trending manner. And so this really kind of helps with that. So again, we recommend that you start out by at least 3 bank accounts. Your income account is going to hold all of the money that's coming into your account. Okay. Your operating account is going to hold revenue and pay expenses for your business. So again, it's going to pay the rent, software, supplies that you need, any kind of overhead that you have for your business. And then we recommend that you have an owner's pay account where you transfer your paycheck to. And just again, to reiterate, the optional accounts that we do recommend would be the tax account and the profit account. creating a routine with your transfers and owner pays is very helpful. It just it helps you kind of streamline and know that you're handling everything with confidence. Um, we do have a worksheet that we provided for you in the email that Maggie had sent out. And so on the worksheet, we do have a breakdown of the percentages that we recommend for the profit first method. So 100% of your income is going to go into your income account. Everything goes there, and then you're going to pay yourself 30%. That's going to go into the operating account, and then 30% is going to go into your tax account. And then 30% is going to go into your owner's pay account. And that leaves 10% that it's up to the owner's discretion. What we recommend is a savings into a profit account, a savings account. So again, just to put this into perspective with the same example that I shared with you earlier for the three-part framework, if your business brought in $10,000 a month, 3,000 should go into your operating account, 3,000 should go into your owner's pay account, and 3,000 should go into your tax account, and that's leaving an additional $1,000 for you to put into your savings or a profit account. The more simpler the system is for you, the more likely you are to stick to it. I mean, I can tell you this on a personal note. When you're trying to build and grow and see growth, you want to be able to see numbers. And when you have a structure like this, you'll be able to start to see trends, and you'll be able to start to see things that might stand out to you when you're looking at your reports or you're looking at your spreadsheet at the end of the month to be able to decide what you need to do that month. Clarity definitely helps you. Okay. So now we have some of our most common mistakes. Only 33% of small business owners pay themselves a regular salary. Again, I do find this very disheartening as a business owner, and as working with business owners, I feel like, we're working so hard every day and, putting our blood, sweat, and tears into our business that we should be able to see a regular salary. That's what we're doing all of this for. So even with a solid plan, these traps can throw business owners off, okay? So choosing a pay percentage that is too high too soon. Okay. And that could get very intimidating, and it could throw you off for, even setting up yourself with a pay schedule. If you set it up too high and too soon, then on your next payday that you've set yourself up for, you might not be able to afford it. So let's start with realistic goals. Okay. Skipping a payday during the slow months just this once. Try to avoid that altogether. Again, consistency is key. The more that you see consistency coming into your checking account, the more likely you are to continue to work towards those goals. Okay. Dipping into the owner's pay for business expenses. Again, this is where I kind of say try to avoid commingling funds altogether. And that's just a good rule of thumb for your business overall. But more so when you're trying to set yourself up for good financial success, you want to try to avoid any commingling of any funds. You want to make sure that the funds that are coming in are earmarked and going to exactly what you want them to. You're avoiding your numbers because the books aren't perfect yet. Well, that's because you haven't called Secured Financials for us to do it for you. So that is a very common mistake, but don't let that hold you up. Again, remember, consistency is key. And if your numbers and your books are stressing you out, please reach out. That is the last reason that we want anybody to avoid falling behind or anything like that, just because you don't know. So if that is one of your biggest problems or pain points, please reach out. Changing the system too soon instead of letting it work. Again, I think we all do that in our day-to-day life, but when you're implementing these structures and these plans for your businesses, you want to make sure that you stick with them. Sure, there's going to be hiccups along the way, but work through those. Don't change the system altogether. Let's get a couple cycles out of it before we can decide if it works or it doesn't work. The system does work. We are products of it ourselves, the profit first and our 3-tier methods. The system does work. So give it a chance. Remember that, we're all putting in this work for our business and to have the financial freedom and to have success at the end of it. And so let it work for you. Okay. Any questions here? Okay. So I have provided some tools and links for you. So there's a link here for the Profit First book. We do recommend you get this book. This book is similar to the Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you've ever read that book, I have read it and it is very good. So we have a link for that as well. And we have a link for the online banking for the Profit First method. It's free and you can have up to 20 bank accounts with them. And the best thing about them is they do allow you to have multiple physical and virtual cards, and that you can also set up the automatic transfers with the percentages. So here again, I also would just kind of put a plug in for using Relay Bank. I mean, there's something to be said for automation, and you can automate a lot of the workflow and a lot of the transfers with them. That's one of the reasons why that we recommend them. So it automates it all for you. So we do have those tools for you. And oops. Now it's time for some Q&As. What if your income isn't consistent and how I can pay myself months are slow? Looking at these, the last 3 months of revenue expenses, you're going to calculate your average profit. Start with a consistent pay, maybe 30%, and set it aside as your baseline. Even if the amount transfers to yourself changes month to month, your pay should stay consistent. That could mean paying yourself less during the slower months and more during the stronger months, but always stay on the same day. The consistency builds trust in our systems. I will now open the floor to any questions.
Well, I don't have any questions. I have a comment. Um, Great presentation.
Thank you.
Very, very informative. And it won't go over the top of people's heads because a lot of time people are already intimidated, finances, bookkeeping, taxes. So I think that your audience they can relate to it, but they won't be overwhelmed by it, thinking, "Oh Lord." And I know I love Relay Bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been pretty impressed with them as well.
Yeah, I love Relay Bank. I love having the different accounts. So
Mm-hmm. I love the automation part of it. I think that's beautiful. I mean,
right.
anything that we can save in automation, I think it's great.
So let me say this. Now I'm gonna pretend like I don't know. Okay. So I'm gonna pretend like I don't know because somebody may have this question. So like talking about payroll for S corps and C corps. So we know one of the main things about S corps is what? Reasonable
Reasonable
compensation. That's one of the
compensation.
biggest things that these shareholders, they're just not compliant. So say for instance, if I'm a shareholder in an S corp and I'm thinking, you know what, maybe I want to try secured financials out. Um, do you feel that you all are very strong in letting your client know this is what you need to do legally, ethically, and compliantly? Because a lot of times, they hear it on TikTok and they think it's gospel. And a lot of times what's on TikTok is just wrong. So would you feel that you all are strong in saying, hey, client, this is what we recommend. We understand this is your business, but this is what we recommend. Are you guys pretty good, on like really making sure your clients are compliant?
I definitely feel like we are. And I think just with our, like the strong, I mean, she's a strong, has a lot of strong experience and she's a strong personality. So yeah, I definitely think we are.
Good. That's
Yes.
important.
reasonable compensation. Both of us said that at the same time. Biggest
Mhm.
thing for S corps, and that's kind of what prompted this segue into this conversation. Because to your point, there's a lot of misinformation out there about how to pay yourself, and that's why we started with that. So, actually, Angela, can we kind of go through just like a recap of the framework and the how? Because how is the foundation. That's the prerequisite that you have to come in here with.
Uh-huh.
Um, Paying yourself is one thing, but like how should you actually pay yourself? So a single member LLC in a partnership, you cannot be on payroll. You
Mm-mm.
have to take an owner's draw. Well, what is an owner's draw? An owner's draw is through bank transfers. You can withdraw the cash or write yourself a check. I like writing yourself a check. That is what I recommend to most of our clients because that is paperwork on paperwork on paperwork. There's check images, it shows what it's for, who it's to. There's no questions about it. Whereas bank transfers, we do everything in case of an audit because that's the worst case scenario, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we feel that if you come prepared, then you stay ready. If something happens, you're less stressed because you already know that you've taken care of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Auditor might say, okay, I see all these bank transfers. Whose account is that? Now they want to dig into that account because that's a possibility. If you're somebody who is not strong about keeping your personal funds and your business funds separate, now you pierce the veil. That's the wording that we use in the accounting and the legal field. Pierce the veil, meaning now you're subject to a lot of personal stuff being scrutinized
Yeah,
as well.
that's right.
So you have to be clear on how you do this and you have to be very consistent. S Corp and C Corp, this is something on the other hand, you can't just take owner's draws because those are distributions. They're taxed differently. They're looked at differently. You have to be on actual payroll. We recommend ADP. Reason being is because it's hands off with them. You set it, they file all the things that's needed, all of the 941s, the 940s, the W-2s, all of that is automatically done and they keep you compliant in that way. Being that the payroll taxes is how the US government makes 86% of their money. That's why I said messing up this part will cost you. That's why Angela
Mm-hmm.
said that because they want to make their money. And if you're doing something out of compliance, they're going to come for you. It's just no if, ands, or buts about it. Payroll taxes are, the number one thing. So you have to do this part right. Um, there are cheaper options out there. I will say that another philosophy with us is that cheaper is not always better. So just make sure that if you go with another payroll company, that they are going to handle a lot of these like tax returns and compliance things for you. And then
Exactly.
moving forward to the three-part framework. So now that you know how to actually pay yourself, how much basically is the framework, the three-part framework. And so it starts with this is the saying that we use. You have to know your numbers, right? And set a pay schedule using the profit first method. Those are the three steps. That's the three-part framework. Um, Knowing your numbers is foundation. Now, of course, shameless plug, like I said, Secured Financials has three options and we made it so simple, right? We can do it for you, we can do it with you, or you can do it yourself, but you got to pick one of the three. You can't do nothing. And that is another thing that we've realized a lot of business owners make the mistake of. They wait until it's tax time. Okay, I need to turn this into my accountant. Let me pull my statements. Let me figure it out. Truth is, you don't remember what that $56.11 transaction was last March. You don't remember that. So you're missing a lot of things as well. And relying solely on your payment processors as well is not good either because they make mistakes too. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times where we have pulled, and this is specifically for my therapist. If you are with Grow or Alma, right? Grow and Alma gives you a 1099 at the end of the year. You also will get a 1099K from them. How will you know if income is being double reported? If you don't have a clear record of what payments you should have gotten and how much you actually got in your account, it's a big possibility that they're double reporting income and making it seem like you made more than you did.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important to know your numbers for the income and for the expenses so that way you can, at the basics, pay yourself confidently. Setting a pay schedule, it seems very simple, um, but it's overlooked. You have to set a pay schedule. Weekly, biweekly, that's, kind of the standard. If you were to get a 9 to 5, that's the standard. So that's what we just follow. You can do monthly as well. I started off monthly because consistency matters more than size in the beginning. I started off monthly, paid myself monthly until I could afford to go biweekly and weekly. Um, that habit, it's also a habit. It's a habit of being able to pay yourself. You're building these habits. So know your numbers so you can set a pay schedule and then using profit first method. Relay, as Mama D also, gave her user experience feedback on it. It really is a great tool. It's free. It is an online bank. I will say the only drawback is if you do a lot with cash, um, it is a little bit difficult to deposit cash, and withdrawing it's a little bit limited as to where you can withdraw cash, but for most of our service-based businesses, we don't do anything cash anyway. So for, as long as that's not you're not a big heavy cash business, I wholeheartedly recommend Relay. Especially for us bookkeepers and accountants because it integrates with QuickBooks and Zero very, very seamlessly. We don't have to hunt you down for statements and all of these type of things, especially with you having multiple accounts. Um, but yeah, so to recap how Profit First works, and we kind of broke it down in on the worksheet for you. 100% of all your income will go into the income account. From there, you're going to take that 100% and divvy it up into the other accounts that you've set up. So we recommend operating account at a bare minimum and the owners pay at a bare minimum. That serves our purpose of running the business and paying ourselves. But of course, we're tax people, so we're really, really, really going to suggest that you have a third one for taxes. And then the profit account. So if you're a single member LLC, your profit account is really your savings account because you already take your owner's pay by, taking um, owner's draws. If you're a C corp or an S corp, though, that profit account you can use as your savings, or it might be your distributions. You have that option, and this gives you a confidence factor as well that you can take this money out and know that your operating expenses didn't suffer, your owner's pay didn't suffer, your taxes didn't suffer, and you are on a great financial track. So that's why we came up with this 3-part framework to teach you how and how much.
Very good.
Thank you, Maggie.
You are welcome.
Very good.
Thank you, Mama Dean, for your feedback. Yeah, we love Relay. Scan those QR codes. If you need something to read for the summer, read the Profit First Method book, or on Relay's blog, they have like a very quick synopsis of how it works. Read it, get familiar with it, start using it. Um, to the point that Angela made later on with the drawbacks is that we try to change it a little bit too much, tweaking the percentages and things of that nature. Let it stabilize, let it work. Try the
Mm-hmm.
formula that we've given you and see if that works. If you have to adjust, obviously, if you have to adjust because you have, undercompensated for your own operating expenses, you got to keep your lights running. But know your numbers and adjust accordingly. Give it time to stabilize and work for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
It's been great. And
So glad you
Maggie,
joined us.
I'm glad I did too. And Maggie, you can give Angela my number.